So I just have a quick announcement. Two of the panelists are missing, and so we don't have Mahmoud and we don't have Jacob. So we have two panelists who are stepping in for them. So someone from Paradigm can actually upgrade Akwabi Paul to be one of the speakers, and Jembe Hussein to be one of the speakers, and Ruth Atim as well.
Okay, thank you. We'll do that now.
So Bekile, do you want to advise on when exactly we should start and whether you would help us with the upgrading?
Hi everyone. Hi, Anne. I can see you. How many panelists are waiting for to join? I believe a link has been shared. Perhaps we can give it.
I cannot hear you. I'm sorry.
Hi, Anne. Can you hear me?
I can hear you on a very far distance. I'm literally struggling. Ruth, can you hear Bekile?
Yes, I can hear.
All right. Are you ready to start?
Yes.
All right. Great. Welcome everyone, and sorry for the delays in starting.
Or maybe it's from my end, right? Let me just check. Because I literally can't hear.
Hi, Anne. Can you hear me better now? All right, colleagues, we'll be starting shortly in a couple of minutes. Let's just wait for our hosts to settle in. And sorry for the delay, we'll be starting shortly.
I'm just going to check if I can hear you now.
Hi, Anne, I'm right here. Good morning.
Good morning to you. I can finally hear you. I was worried.
Fantastic. And a warm welcome to everyone who's joining. And I'll be handing over to Uzalendo Afrika Initiative for the next session. So over to you, Anne. Please feel free to take it away.
Thank you so much. So a very good morning from here in Mombasa in Kenya, and good afternoon, good evening for the rest of the world who is joining us, and welcome to our session today on how we can achieve, a digitally inclusive space for women and girls in Africa. I'm gonna give a brief background of both our panelists and who we are as Uzalendo Afrika Initiative. Uzalendo Afrika Initiative is a Pan-African based organization here in Kenya, and our key focus or our mandate is to help young people to reclaim their agency, voice, and purpose, and nurturing them to be transformational leaders and active citizens of this country. But we also hope to amplify their voices through regional spaces and international spaces, but most importantly, making sure that they are part of decision-making processes and public processes that are ongoing in their countries. We work around 5 thematic areas, namely digital rights and internet governance, gender, peace and security, governance, and social accountability. We also work on health, and this year we started working on economic justice, African Continental Free Trade Area to be specific. So the reason why we are having this particular session is actually because this is part of our work in the digital rights efforts. And we have an amazing panel joining us today from two countries, Kenya and Uganda. And our first panelist is Ms. Ruth Atim. Ms. Ruth Atim, would you take the floor and introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you so much, Anne, and thank you so much, Paradigm, for this convening. My name is Atim Ruth, and I work for the Gender Tech Initiative Uganda. I'm also a freelance journalist, and my work is basically around digital rights and supporting women human rights defenders to claim their space in the online environment. Thank you, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Ruth. And I actually realized I didn't say what my name, who my name is. My name is Anne Rose Osamba. I am a trained journalist and I do communication for development. And I am very passionate about SDG 5 and technology for gender equality. And I am the executive director of Uzalendo Afrika Initiative. And I'm also happy to be convening this amazing session. Once again, thank you so much, Paradigm, for convening this very legit discussions. I think we're having this conversation at a very crucial moment for us as Kenyans, but also as African. In Kenya, we are heading to an election, and the country has just launched a digital strategy for Kenya. And so this is very interesting for us and for our neighboring countries as well in Uganda, Tanzania, and the EAC at large. Our second panelist, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Paul Akwabi. Paul Akwabi, would you please introduce yourself briefly? Is Paul Akwabi on the call? If Paul Akwabi is not ready, could we please have Hussein Jembe introducing himself?
Oh, thank you. My name is Jembe Hussein Jembe. I work with Jamii Action Center based in Kwale, and we do issues of peace and security, and we're also championing for inclusivity in technology. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jembe. Paul Akwabi, can you hear us? Because I can see him on the call, actually. I don't know whether it's the sound that has the problem or connectivity issues. But then if Paul Akwabi can still hear us, I can jump right into the discussion, and when it's going to be his time to present, then he'll be able to have the floor to introduce himself, but also present himself. So I just want to give a bit of a background on how we arrived here. Now, we run a program called Beijing Champions 20, which is a collective movement for Pan-African women to localize their efforts around the Beijing Declaration of 1995. And so these amazing women are actually clustered in clusters. I mean, they are clustered in clusters which they work on. And so we have women in ICT pillar. And last year, during the 16 days of activism, we started this conversation that we are having today. And our focus that time was looking at the roadmap to ending online gender-based violence, and also looking at the structural equality and systemic challenges that we've been having, such as religion, culture, that impede young women and girls from achieving, or utilizing their full potential in ICT, apart from the common challenges such as cost, connectivity, and all these things. So this is a conversation that we started, and we did submit a paper during the Generation Equality Forum in Paris. Then last year, during the 16 days of activism of gender-based violence, we had a convening where we heard from young, amazing women from South Africa, Uganda, and Kenya on the kind of efforts that we are having. So today, why we are here is because we want to look at where we are from the time we had the conversation. Have there been any meaningful progresses or changes that we can put our hands on? And the legal frameworks that exist, are they working for us? And what can we do as people within the internet governance ecosystem? Are there recommendations that we can give to our governments or as key actors to see how collectively we can achieve technology for gender equality? I believe it is possible. Ms. Ruth Atim, I would like to give you the floor to actually make your submission on where we are, first of all. And I understand you're giving us the context of Uganda in terms of girls and ICT, and whether you can tie that to the commitment of Jeff or your work in person and the work that you do for Gender Tech Initiative. Then what are the legal frameworks that you're currently having in Uganda, and what are the key challenges that we are facing, and what will be the recommendation that you actually give? You actually have about 7 minutes to do that.
Thank you so much, Anne, and everyone on the panel. I like the fact that we are talking about the digital inclusion, a digital inclusive space for women and girls. I work so much in this particular field, and it's such a honor, to be here. So at the Gender Tech Initiative, the organization that I co-founded, we run activities and projects that are geared towards empowering the girl child to embrace the the digital world. And a lot has been done in supporting a certain class of people, but we are lagging behind in supporting the women who are in trade, the women who don't have the digital skills to embrace their businesses. For example, we, much as the other categories of women, the schoolgirls, the people in the CSO world, the other women humanity defenders are being supported and empowered. We have lagged behind in supporting a woman who is doing trade and business. I'm talking this in perspective to Uganda, my country, and we are right now spearheading work and projects to ensure that the women in trade are also supported and not excluded digitally as they carry out their businesses, because and a digitally inclusive woman and a woman has been digitally empowered is one who will be able to fend for her family using different channels and different ways in which she couldn't have achieved if she wasn't digitally empowered. So there are a couple of challenges that affect the progress of digital inclusion or having very many women embracing the digital space. One of them is lack of motivation. Many of the people that I've interacted with, especially when I'm doing my research to inform a project that I want to implement, is like the people lack the motivation to stay online. They feel like, what am I going to gain from being online? So they don't see the need for a digital engagement, and they also don't understand the benefits of being online. So I think it's prudent for us, the people in the digital space and people who are working in the tech space, to empower them, to inspire them to have that huge motivation. And in the long run, when this happens over time, they will be digitally included or digitally inclusive in all the work that they do. And then the other thing is lack of skills and confidence. Many, as you know, I'm talking this perspective of a rural woman, a woman who is in trade, who has never probably seen a computer, who has never seen a smartphone, and it's a global world. They think everything is moving basically online, but there's this particular person who is being left behind because they don't have the skills and the confidence to stay online. So there is need for us, again, people in this estate of ours, to support these women. As opposed to having projects within and activities within the urban center, let's step out of our comfort zones and go out to the rural areas, to this woman who is in the rural area but could benefit from selling her produce online and making a living out of that, and support them with skills and confidence for them to stay online. And then lastly, lack of access, both physical and financial. Most of them think it's very expensive to stay online, which is somewhat true. Buying data on a daily basis is expensive. and also buying that smartphone, that particular smartphone. To them, to others, it might look at like a luxury, but a smartphone right now is a necessity that all of us have to embrace. So for that to be embraced, these particular people need to be empowered and skilled with knowledge on how to operate these smartphones, and and lobby for data, cheap data for these people. Because if all of us are to be buying data at the same rate, then a certain group of people are going to be left out, which is really not good for us, especially the women working in the tech field. So so cost is a huge barrier to getting people and individuals online. What can be done? You asked about what we can do to support people or to increase the number of digitally inclusive women or inclusive persons. So I think first of all, with support from our different governments, we need to increase internet affordability. This is to ensure that those who can't afford, the cost of internet and data are not locked out due to the costs of, that owes to purchasing these gadgets and also getting access to internet. And then secondly, empowering the users. We need to come up with projects and activities that empower this particular group of people that are underprivileged, that we see that are digitally excluded with digital skills. So we need to empower them and show them give them information about the benefits of the internet and its impact on the world, or how being online is going to support their businesses. So because many people know that there is an internet out there, but they really don't know that it's important and can also help their businesses prosper. So it's up to us to support them, give them the skills, and empower them to really embrace the digital ways of doing businesses, or the digital ways of having their products online. And then we should also work on the internet infrastructure development, especially by making sure that the online space is safe for this particular group of people that we intend to work with. Because if, let's say, for example, I have empowered a woman, a rural woman or a woman in trade to be online, then she goes online, uploads her businesses, her products, and then she gets abused or harassed or gets hateful comments on her products. Definitely she will drop, she will leave that particular space. So we need to equip them with digital skills, and prepare them mentally that you are on this space. Yes, it's also a harsh environment, but with a tough skin and knowing that you've gone there to achieve ABCD, you have to hang on and be there. So I think if this is taken into consideration, we will have very many women embracing technology. We will have very many young girls and a safe space for people to embrace digital tools, and in the long run curb digital exclusion. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ruth Atim. You've actually raised very critical concern about targeted programming around rural women, because most of the times a lot of our programs are actually targeting urban women. And for me, what really kept standing out is the fact that you're mentioning e-commerce and e-platforms, and we're just talking about African Continental Free Trade Area. And now they're supposed to be coming up with a women protocol on that. So how, again, this is just food for thought for the young women in Uganda. How do we position the women to make sure they influence the protocol that will be made by the ASEFTA Secretariat, especially now speaking life into those challenges that you are mentioning, challenges around affordability, but also the need to, first of all, the agency for the women, because like Ruth, the agency So thank you so much, Ruth Atim. I would like to take this time to actually pass it over to Jembe. Jembe, please tell us, in your area of involvement, where do you think we are currently in Kenya? What are the challenges, considering you also work in a county that is both rural and urban? Kwale County is rural and urban. What are some of the challenges that you have seen, and what do you think we can do? And whether the frameworks that are currently existing in the Kenyan context are working for us, or there's need for review?
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Rose was a good friend of mine. And I actually would like to echo what my friend from Uganda has said or has put in place. Actually, I can give a standing ovation to that. They're doing an amazing work. So as I said, my name is Jembe Hussein Jembe. I work in a community-based organization called Jamii Action Center, and I have a special interest also in technology. We have been partnering both with the government and non-governmental agencies in supporting women in technology. I can say that. But if I go straight to the questions I've been asked to respond to, I can say Kwale and the coast at large, we are moving in a positive direction in terms of embracing technology and focusing women in technology or championing for women technology. If I can just give an analysis of Kwale, from the year 2018 to today, we have about 8 to 10 existing local hubs, which are focusing on women empowerment in terms of digitally trained. We have the likes of Wakwale na Teknolojia. It's a women-led initiative which focuses on empowering women to embrace technology in the day-to-day. We believe women are farming here. Women are doing some sort of small businesses, but the initiative here are now integrating these women to move from the old ways of working to the modernized way of working. And I can say also in Kenya, we are in a good position because a bigger number of us youth, we have been championing tirelessly the concept of technology, in embracing it and how best we can use it, because we believe we are moving on the SDG goal number 9, innovation, and we champion for everyone to be able to use, not only to use, but also to multitask on a technological aspect. So I can say Kenya, we are moving on a positive direction, and we also have various concepts, various frameworks which are in place to ensure that we champion for women inclusion in technology. The likes of the advancement of women technology, it's a framework which is spearheading women-based entities to support themselves in advancement and also embracing technology. And also I have been going through another document, it's an international document, but also has an aspect of we as Kenyans, the bridging the digital gender divide. It's a framework which support women. I can say that because the gender perspective here in Africa, it means women, support women to embrace technology and to work more so with the advancement of technology. And also there is this vision 2030 of the Kenyan government, and which has a component of advancement in technology. And there's imagining of the Konza city. They have concept of also pushing for technology, and women have been factored in. And again, if I come locally, I have seen several interventions put in place here, both in Kenya, Mombasa, Taita Taveta. We have existing hubs which are pushing for women-led causes. I can say that because from the research which has been done previously, there were some gaps that women do not embrace these causes, the STEM causes, that's science, technology, mathematics, and engineering. But now these hubs which are existing, the likes of Tech Hub here in Kwale, the likes of Zote Hub in Taita Taveta, the likes of Pwani Techno Girls are pushing women to embrace technology. So I can say in a nutshell that in Kenya, we are not that good 100%, but we have been doing some recommendable jobs in terms of embracing technology and also championing women to embrace technology. My friend Anne is a very good user of technology because it's juggled between Twitter and Facebook without any fear of contradiction. So I believe she is a role model to many women, and she personally, I can say, support the motive of embracing technology. And again, if I go to the second question, recommendation, I believe if we look closely this framework, existing framework, like the advancement of women technology, it has some recommendations specifically driven for women-led entities. Like one of the major recommendations here, it has said that we should champion for women to embrace technology regardless of where they are. So this has actually captured my attention because the Kenyan government is pushing that agenda that we should connect people regardless of where we are, whether you are in rural or whether you are in urban center. So you should at least champion for the use of technology. Here in Kwale is peri-urban area, and we have been facing that challenge at some time, but now there is an embarrassment. And also I understand the government partnership project with Safaricom, the Lipa Mdogo Mdogo project has embraced many women to embrace the use of smartphone, because you get a smartphone at a subsidized price and then you pay installments. So that's one way of connecting these women. So that's one of the recommendations. And also I will give a recommendation that we take personnel or tech gurus. We should also give priority to women in terms of giving them empowerment, digital literacy, and also training. We understand sometimes technology is a complicated thing, and the advancement of technology day in, day out also can make somebody get tired. But also we whom have understanding of how the technology works should also give priority to the women. And then we should also continue advocating for women involvement in technology, both at our institution, government, and anywhere where we are. A good example here in my home county, we have been pushing a motion that because the entire department of ICT at the county government of Kwale, it's men to the person who is sweeping there is a man. So we have been pushing that at least we include some few women there whom can also shed some light or also can act as role model or can make women embrace technology on a positive mode. And also I would give a recommendation on the bridging the digital gender divide concept, whereby they had three recommendation that we should challenge women to embrace technology themselves without pushing them. Two, we should connect them. We understand not everybody can have access or can be connected to service provider or anybody who is willing to support that. But we whom understand should connect them so that they see the benefit of it. And also we should encourage investors to invest in these women. Those are the few recommendations I can say. And thank you very much for the few time you have given me. Once I have an addition, I'll just come back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would love to have some follow-up questions with you, but not after the other speaker has presented. I think you've actually spoken to so many issues. And for me, what stood out was the need to actually have women in county governments, or what you call local governments in other countries. I think for me, that is really key. And the fact that women are actually embracing technology, and Safaricom being able to power them up through their Lipa Mdogo Mdogo project, which in Swahili means pay slowly. So women can acquire cell phones by them paying 20 shillings per day. But then after they finish that, they can able to get their cell phone. I also want to throw a spanner in the work by saying that yesterday, but one, the Cabinet Secretary for ICT in Kenya, Honorable Joe Musheru, did launch a digital strategy for Kenya. What does that strategy mean to us as young women and as people who work within the technology, or as technology champions? It is just food for thought. But also allow me to render true apology. We were meant to have Jacob Nyongesa, who is a senior fact checker analyst at the Media Council of Kenya, who could not be with us this morning because of reasons that, And then we were also meant to have Mr. Mahmoud Mohamed, who is the Executive Director for Swahili Port Hub in Mombasa, who is currently away and couldn't be able to join. And we were meant to have Ms. Shiko Kihika, who has really championed a lot of technology work in the other part of Kenya, from Tribeless Youth, who unfortunately also could not be with us this morning. And that's how we ended up having Hussein Jembe Mohamed stepping in for Mahmoud and Paula Kwabi stepping in for Jacob Nyongesa. So allow me now to give you, Paul Akwabi, 7 minutes, both for your short introduction and tell us, in your line of work, I understand that Techikid Africa powers robotics or introduction of robotics to kids, but also what I want you to speak to is the aspect of women inclusion in your programming, but also I know that you also work around online safety for women, and not necessarily for women, but for adolescents. And these adolescents are also young girls. What are some of the challenges that you have encountered in your area of work? And do you think there are legal frameworks supporting your work? And what would be the recommendations that you give to the Kenyan government? Paul Akwabi.
Thank you so much, Ms. Anne Maua, for this opportunity. I'm glad actually to be in this platform. I've been following up, and it's so informative. Now, just to introduce myself, my name is Paul Akwabi from Tech Kids Africa, which is a technology school for children and teenagers. Though we have a joint venture right now, we are actually going up to the age of 30 years. We work closely with also women organization, because especially on online safety and cyber security. So we train on robotics, coding, artificial intelligence, machine learning, online safety and cyber security being the core thing that we focus on in all this. So in especially teenagers and young ladies who are growing up, the biggest gap that has been there and challenge is on online safety. And we have been working with girls from different backgrounds, especially the young mothers. And you realize that it's not even the lack of them having, like for example, the sanitary towels. It has been also the introduction of technology and them not knowing when they're targets or not targets. There is a lot of identity theft. Somebody who terms them, since they have phones at home, at times others are just feature phones, not even smartphones. They get strangers who are able to send them money. That is mobile money transfer. That is usually called on online safety. That is what's the name? It's just getting off my head. It is you get that you're being lured using the same technology that is supposed to assist you actually develop, and the person on the other side is trying to tell you that they know you. At times they're just total strangers. At times you might think it is your uncle or your aunt from Dubai, wherever, and you've met in Instagram, social media. So on identity theft, you get that you are having this person who is your friend, who posts everything the way your aunt actually is. So when your aunt posts, she is on the beach, the person takes the photo and puts on the other side of the account. So we are having a lot of also ladies who have fallen victims of this circumstance, but apparently we have not been having platform for them to be able to voice this. They end up feeling that since they made that mistake and they found themselves in a foolish way in a mistake, they feel like they should not speak out and say the truth. Apparently, there's a very huge number of affected girls who are growing up, and this affects them even in how they're focusing on their career choices and how they're developing just generally, even professionally. I know possibly even some of us here, through also cyberbullying, you posted something, somebody answered you the way they wished, and you ended up having low self-esteem. So what we are actually looking at into is technology is a tool for you to develop, for you to create more opportunities, and for you to be able actually to solve even some of the things that are challenges within your community. You don't have to be able to know anything to do with developing either an app, robotics, and all that. And that is what we're trying to prepare actually the upcoming generation on. You just need to have an idea and know-how. Then you can always merge with the other people who have skills out here. And you get that most challenges that are coming up here is most ladies are not into this space of programming and coding, but now they feel like they cannot be able to come up with solutions. This is something that we are trying to make more awareness, and we're still trying to tell ladies, because ladies are very good ideators. Even from just the basic home that we are in, you realize that there are ladies who ladies are the ones who usually even plan how the families are supposed to be from the vacation and what they're going to eat and everything. Actually, the way families run and organizations, they're usually so key. But now they feel like, since they don't know, they don't have technology actually as a tool within their skill set, they feel like they're not able to solve many problems. So what we are trying to also champion for is, you just need your idea and you're able to partner with other more deeper skilled people to assist you actually actualize that. And also, whenever you're using still same technology, some of the do's and don'ts, I know most of us have been getting also messages like, click this link to reset your Facebook message. So some of the things that we make sure that people understand is, make sure you know the URL, www.facebook.co.ke. That cannot be Facebook. Facebook is .com. So anytime you're not getting something that is relating with these social medias, you need to be very, very much aware. So we craft all that because so many people fall victims. They end up actually being affected mentally, which end up affecting even their passion, their interest, and self-esteem towards what they're doing. So basically, that's what actually we are doing and advocating for, you being safe online and you being as informed as possible and make informed decisions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Paul. And actually, those are very critical concerns around even cyberbullying, around identity theft. We've had so many instances of where someone has a girl's photo as their profile and they're not actually the same people. Even within our own convenings as online movement builders, we've had many cases. We've had to defend girls who have been trolled. And I think Kenyans on Twitter are the worst, and they're known for this. So it's quite critical, some commendable work you're doing there, but also just to throw another spanner in the work in terms of accessibility for technology for the people who are in Kenya. We just received our third underwater cable. What does that mean to our access? I know I may have time to come back to you, but just before, yes, Idris, I am seeing your hand. I'm sorry, I am seeing your hand. Just before I open this for plenary, I would like to ask Tabokile, how much more time do we have?
You have about 18 minutes. 18.
Great. Thank you. I just want to make sure that, we don't take other people's time. So 18 is fair enough. So I'm going to open for plenary for 3 questions before we go to the next part. So Idris, thank you for actually being very assertive in even reminding me you're raising your hand. So you can have your 1 minute to ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. I have one interesting question which I always want to ask when we have question around more men are in the internet than women, which is quite agreed. And also apart from that one, the poverty, the illiteracy level is restricting many women to participate on internet when you compare with the rate of the male. And also my question here is, how are we going to tackle this issue? Apart from being them on the internet, even the few number of women we have on the internet, they tend to focus on soft issues on the internet. I'm not generalizing all of them, but majority I can say they focus on issues like entertainment, passions, rather than discussing on, like, let me say, hard issues like insecurity, issues on elections, even issues of gender and sexual violence, because I can testify you see men dominated this kind of discussion, even on issue of sexual gender-based violence on social media, dominated issue of democratic governance, anti-corruption, and a lot of it. So how are we going to change their behavior and attitude so that they will know that social media is not only for entertainment, It is for education and information, and also holding government and other public office holders responsible on issues that affected African continent, especially in Nigeria. So what steps are we going to change their attitude to put more effort on the hard issues rather than the soft issues like entertainment? Thank you.
Wow, that's a good one, right? So any other person before we respond to that? I am just checking whether there's somebody else who could have raised their hand and I can't see them. Any other person?
Okay.
Yes, Ruth, you wanted to answer that?
Yes, I wanted to respond to Idris. Thank you so much for your question. You see, the internet is very diverse, and people's interests vary. Okay, so not everyone is going to post about politics. Okay, so there are people who make money from the video clips that they do post online. There are people who make money online from sharing from sharing people's posts. But maybe the thing that we need to ensure is that how are they to ensure that they utilize this online space safely and appropriately. But I don't think we need to dictate what content someone puts out there, provided it's deemed safe and appropriate. Okay, because right now Facebook has sent, they have some policy guidelines where when you post something that is against their policies, you're either blocked or that particular post is taken down. So I think people are at liberty to post anything they want to post online, provided it doesn't offend anyone, it's helping them to earn money, and it's also appropriate for everyone consuming the online space. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruth, for providing that answer. And I just wanted to say that there is a fine line, absolutely fine line between fundamental freedoms and online freedoms, and between freedoms and actually like managing the space, because where do you draw the line in terms of the laws that are governing the space, but allowing people to be themselves, because freedom of association, online freedom, that is their freedom. So, but the other thing I hear you would say is that we cannot dictate, which is very true. But also now, in going back to Idris's question, I wanted to say that social media is like a blank check. And that is what I tell young people everywhere I go. So you get to decide what amount of things you want to put in your blank check. A blank check, you can put $1,000, $100 based on what you want to do with the space. And all of us, we also have to acknowledge the fact that we are not homogeneous. I am working in technology, but I am not a techie person, okay? But then there is somebody else who is a techie person who is interested in games and whatnot. And then the other thing that I captured in your question was, how do we make the government, how do we hold the government accountable? I think for me, when you say that, my antennas were, because I immediately thought internet shutdown. And I'm thinking the only way we can hold the government accountable is through advocacy, and we cannot advocate for something we don't know. That means we that understand have a lot of work to do in terms of looking around the policies that have been put in place by the government, whether they are choking us or they're allowing us to work. For example, I've had an opportunity, actually between 2018, 2019, I was working for Facebook Africa, and I was stationed in Kenya to do their Boost with Facebook program. And that's when I learned about the standard operating community policing and what they say about the online space. But again, in essence, what I'm trying to say is, if we cannot train our communities on how the internet space is like, by telling them the realities that you can use it for e-commerce, you can use it for entertainment, provided everyone is in the space. But holding the government accountable will require us to do an extra work of knowing the gaps within the policies that they've put in place. For example, for people like me who work within the digital ecosystem, in Kenya, they've introduced something called the digital tax. And there is a new act which is called the Data Protection Act that is very controversial in terms of some of the clauses and the way they have been put limit somehow limit our freedom, which is what Ruth is speaking into. Now, a lot of organizations like Uzalendo, Amnesty International, and I know Kikanet in Kenya also is doing a lot of advocacy around sensitizing the community on Data Protection Act and Cybersecurity, Cyber Misuse Act, and we have Access to Information Act. Then by that, we are able to hold them accountable to live up to their promise. And even the strategy that was launched yesterday will be an opportunity. That is the Kenyan context, but I'm sure you didn't say which country you are from, but even in your country, there are those policies and frameworks that have been put in place by government. You can only be able to hold them accountable by actually seeing how the policies work for you, because a policy can just be a beautiful piece of paper written if it is not implemented. So I hope that sort of answers your question, but I can see a question here. My question is, how do we get more women participating in politics, advocacy, and accountability, not like dictating for them, but we need more areas. Yes, and Jembe is also typing the answer, but as a woman who is very interested in ICT, I will say it is actually interest-based, and I cannot force you to eat rice and you want to gali, but what I can do is actually constantly tell you the benefit of, if you join this, this is what you'll get. If you do this, this is what you'll get. So unless somebody else has a question, I would like to pose a question to all of us. We are in the era where the online space actually is like, I am lacking a word to describe it, but it's like a space where everything is there, like literally. So, and in the context of violent extremism and online radicalization, well, what can we say about that, Jembe, considering you also come from one of the parts that is affected by violent extremism and online radicalization, especially during the pandemic, and the women mostly are the targets. We also know about the Al-Shabaab bribes who get recruited online. Have we done enough as practitioners? Have we done enough as government to actually protect our women and girls from online radicalization? Jembe? Maybe if Jembe is still, Jembe, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm on. I got the last part of your question. Actually, how can we do a safe space for women in technology, considering the issue of violent extremism? If I'm not wrong, is that the question? Okay, so first and foremost, I would like to acknowledge that Kwale has been greatly affected by the issue of violent extremism. And as a county, we also have the county action plan in place, preventing and trying to curb the issue of PCV here in Kwale. But however, we are working on preventing it, because countering is not our part, but still we have challenges. And one of the major challenges actually is that the advancement of technology and the counterpart actually have the best technology. That's a point I cannot deny. So we have been trying to lay down some measures in ensuring that we do detect and also prevent the harmful sites or harmful content which is being uploaded online, both Facebook, any social media site that is being used by the recruiters. But we are still working hard on it, because we have partnering with the government in ensuring that we want to create an ecosystem whereby women can be safe both online and offline in terms of the VE issues here in Kwale. We have been also trying to train some women influencers whom we have given them the understanding of the online content and how it works, how to detect a fake site and how to know this is a useful site, and how also to analyze information, the issues of Google reverse search and open source media, and also the community journalism, so that these people understand what actually is meant for them and what is not meant for them. So here in Kwale, I personally leading the media and online pillar in preventing and countering the PCVE issues here in Kwale. We have been laying fundamental strategy, I can say that by limiting the number of posts a site can detect. We have been partnering with the Ministry of ICT and also some national intelligence services, whereby we are helping because we have identified some sites here. So we keep on monitoring day in, day out. So whenever we suspect an alarm has been, or a message has been popped in that site, to actually pull it down from our end. So through the trainings we have been giving these women, we have not reached a bigger number, but we have selected a pilot cohort and we have given this training. We believe these trainings will help them in terms of understanding how the online ecosystem works and what to consider and what not to consider. Honestly, we cannot do technology in a day or in a year because dynamics are different. We cannot move with the same dynamics here in Kuala and Mombasa, Uganda, Nigeria. No, dynamics are different. And we need a very close monitoring in ensuring that we understand which works in Kuala and which doesn't work in Kuala, and then we focus on that. That's the little bit we have been doing here in Kuala in terms of ensuring that there is safety both online for the women who participate in day-to-day activities. And last one, I would like also to echo the likes of Tech Kids Africa, because they have been helping young, I can say children, if I'm not from children, in identifying and also embracing technology at an early stage. Technology, it's not about forcing people, it's a passion also. So you cannot give somebody what he doesn't want. So if we identify passion of these people also, it will be an easier task for us to give them what is required for them to do. So I love the work Paula Kwabi is doing actually by empowering at an early stage. In the CV, actually, we can respond that with the early warning and early response initiative, of which it's a good initiative. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you so much, Jembe, and also for acknowledging the role of early warning, early response system, because you're actually heading to an election. So before I come back to Paul and Ruth and we wrap it up, I actually saw a hand of, what's her name? Shamam Muhammad Ibrahim. Are you able to open your microphone? Shamam, are you there? Okay, so I cannot hear Shamam, but I have also gotten an indicator of time. Ruth, in 1 minute, what is one key thing that you recommend to the government of Uganda?
Personally, as Ruth, I think we need to support the civil society organizations, especially the female-led, that are spearheading the need to create safe digital spaces for women. They need to be supported. There are very many interesting projects that have been pushed down the trench because probably this particular person is not well connected to the other person. But they're really good activities and projects. So they need to support female-led CSOs in ensuring that, in supporting their work in ensuring that all people, all women of different spheres of life are digitally included in all the work that they do. Yeah, I think the support from the government is very important because that is where our motivation will come from to do better. Yeah, and then to every stakeholder or every person on this call, let's step out of our comfort zones. We know it's easier to work within the urban center, but let's step out and also support the woman in the rural area. Let's also bring them on board. Let's create an environment where everyone is digitally included. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. You are truly a politician. So, Akobi, you need to take a true 1 minute because you're very time bound. What is one key recommendation to the government of Kenya? If Akwabi is not on the call, then I am going to proceed. So thank you very much for joining our session today. And what I can say is actually the fight against gender digital divide is a collective responsibility. We cannot do it alone, and Maua cannot do it alone. Jembe cannot do it alone. Paradigm can't do it alone. We need to put our heads together for collective synergy and collective advocating and collective mobilization of our effort and consolidating our efforts and energies together. That is the only time where we can achieve technology for acceleration of gender equality and finally achieve the generation equality commitments by 2026 on how we can make sure that women are connected. And I think for me, my clarion call to the Kenyan government will be actually lowering the prices of the internet, but looking at the issues of accessibility around rural areas like Mwakirunge, Ganze, and Tangru Bay in Baringo, and there are many rural places that I can mention, but also in terms of developing the skills of the women and the younger women as well, especially women doing cross-border trades in the borders of Taita Taveta, Namanga border, borders of Busia, Uganda, all those borders, and just collectively to be able to invest in technology. And we already applaud them for the work that they have done in terms of the infrastructure. But again, as the civil society, we have a role to relook and reinterrogate the policies, whether they're speaking to our issues or they're not speaking to our issues. And if not, what is this thing that we are able to do collectively with our communities? Now, communities will never join the fight for technology for gender equality if they do not understand what exactly it means to their lives. So it is our sole responsibility to then collectively move with the community, not as opposed to moving for the community or on behalf of the community. And I am happy. Please keep engaging us. Our social media platform is at Uzalendo Afrika Initiative on Facebook, at Uzalendo I on Twitter, Uzalendo Afrika Initiative, LinkedIn, Uzalendo Afrika Initiative, Instagram. Thank you so much, our able panelists, for joining us, and all of you for taking time out of your busy schedule. And thank you so much, Paradigm Initiative, for convening all this convention in totality. It's been amazing 3 days just of learning knowledge and sharing insights, and God bless you. And Tabokile, if you allow me, I can take a group photo with the participants in 1 minute, if they are okay with opening their videos. Are we able to open our videos for just 1 minute? Then I can quickly do a screenshot. There we are. Okay, Tabokile, can you try and do it from your end as well? I don't know whether I am doing the right thing. Are you able to quickly do a screen grab? Okay.
Sorry, I can't manage it from my end, but yeah, feel free to try.
Okay. Let me try one more time. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, that's okay. We can't die because the screenshot is not working. Oh, here we are. And it took, so thank you so much. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Asanteni sana. This is where we end it. And please, let's keep the conversation on Twitter. The hashtag is DRIF22. And yes, we hope to join the next session. Asante. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the team. And we appreciate it. This was such an engaging conversation. Thank you so much.